Hi, this is Ken, and you're watching Mastering UX. Okay, I'm going to record this episode here at a little park nearby. I just wanted to get a little bit more of a greenery around. I wanted to give you a short topic today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about getting design feedback and being in a design review. And I think there's two simple things that I wanted to pass along to you that I hope that you'll find helpful. Of course, getting feedback is always a scary thing. We know everyone's got a different opinion. We know that everyone is subjective. People might be looking at different things. But I think there's something that will really help you in getting your feedback, and that is set up the right boundary. When you are working on a design, it might take several months. There are several aspects to that design. And there are also many thing that need to be taken into account. And so before you go and you get your feedback, the first thing that you're going to want to do to set it up is tell your audience what kind of feedback you're looking for. Tell your audience, or it could be your manager, or it could be your colleague, or it could be a drive-by, someone you're talking to. And this could be formal and this could be informal. But when you're doing your review and you're getting your feedback, simply just say, hey, I'm working on something and we're just generating ideas. I'd like for you to give me some feedback to let me know if there's something that we're on to, or I also want to get any input if you have any ideas that we might be able to add to it. That's an example of setting up what you want to get out of it, and you're explaining a little bit of the context. Another example is that you are working on a very politically charged project. There are a lot of opinions on how you should go about doing something. And so in this kind of situation, you're going to really want to let people know that, there are some things that are table stakes and we cannot change about this project. Let your audience know about those kind of things. And of course, be open that the one that you're giving that you're talking to may offer up some suggestions on how you can overcome some challenges. Okay, so that was the first principle. And the second principle, I would say, is really related. The second principle is that you want to give the full context of what you're working on. So that context, when you're working on a project, again, you have political situations, you have a particular goal, you have stakeholders that you're working with, a dynamic. You may even have a legal department that forces you to have certain things and put a very lengthy bit of explanation copy that could be a little bit over the top. There's a lot of different situations. So explain to your audience all the different kind of dynamics that come into play with your project. This can help the reviewer be directed, and you can tell the people who are reviewing it, here's the situation. Also, I'm open if you have any ideas on how to overcome some of these things. So those are the two basic things that kind of help you set up the boundaries, and it keeps the feedback more focused on a particular area. Okay, so let's turn this around and let's talk about it if you're the one who's doing the reviewing. So if you're doing the reviewing, I would basically apply all the same principles, but I would say if the person being reviewed doesn't set up the context, doesn't let you know what kind of feedback they're looking for, start off the conversation by asking, would you like feedback on this particular part? Is it okay for me to comment on anything? You make sure that you discover the boundaries of what is safe. Ultimately, we're all looking to arrive to a state where we all feel safe about the kind of work that we're doing, that we feel free that we can share it. And we want to know that people are not just putting forth opinion bombs. And so when you're doing the reviewing, set this up, and if you're in a group setting and if you're even somewhat of a leader in that situation, others will learn from that, and they will realize that, you know, there is actually a focus. There needs to be boundaries. Some other things I want to add on regarding doing a design review, and if you're the one that's doing the reviewing, if you're a manager, is you're going to want to, you know, throw in a compliment with any kind of constructive feedback that you may have. You know, I know this might sound like you're just being political, but the fact is, as designers, we just tend to see what's wrong first. I can just tell you, my eye sees that a font should be bigger, it should be darker, there's not enough contrast. There are so many negative things or things that need to be fixed that go through my mind. So those are just our natural tendencies, and just to make sure that you're having a healthy, constructive conversation is just to make a deliberate effort to throw in the positive side. You know, hey, I love that you chose that photo, how realistic it looks. I also like that you incorporated a balance between the different blocks over here. I see that you're using the grid and love that. Oh, I'm also seeing that you're using the same pattern that Sally's using. I'm really happy that you use the same pattern that she uses. And then if there's anything that needs feedback on, you know, I would just say, it doesn't always have to be presented as you need to fix it, this is wrong. You know, you can present this as an opportunity. You can also encourage the person to also get more feedback. You know, in our design teams, we're always trying to facilitate more teamwork. Of course, as you know, consistency is a huge thing in design. And so you may want to encourage the other party. You know, you ought to talk to so-and-so because I noticed that they're using a pattern that's similar to yours. So I really recommend that you go and talk to her and find out if, you know, there's a real good reason for you to have a different pattern, or if you might want to consider using the same pattern. And so those are some basic principles. There's more principles. Some people decide to have their design reviews much more structured and to allow it to go through rounds. But the goal is definitely you want to get focused feedback. You want to get constructive feedback. You want to have focused feedback. But I would say your number one goal is that people would feel comfortable about doing it again. Because like I said, it's a scary thing to present your work. So anything that you can do to set up this kind of safe environment and really set up a great culture in your organization. So those are some things that I wanted to leave you off with. I hope you find these helpful, and I'll see you on the next episode.